Hey, Screamers! Welcome to another episode of Screens and Beans, all the way from a place called The Villages, Florida. Cheers!
Cheers!
We're with Mary, Phaedra, and Tamara. And Tamara lives here, so Mary and I are visiting. We even traveled with our mugs all the way from Washington.
And they survived.
And they survived in our carry-on luggage. We had to wear our sunglasses. Hello, we're in Florida, even though it's at night. But I thought it'd be
We're not going to tell them.
well, I thought it'd be kind of creepier at night because you could hear in the background, you could hear like the frogs chirping and crickets and like the night noises, since we're doing kind of a horror/thriller take on
because I don't do horror
movies that have characters in vulnerable situations. So that's our theme, but we're probably going to go off track, to be honest, because we've been having a ton of fun. We got stories to tell. And there are some creepy crawlies in Florida, let me tell you. We've been around alligators, lizards.
Like the ceramic ones?
Yes, we've been around fake alligators, real alligators. We've been around lizards. We've been around dragonflies, bunnies, regular flies, gnats,
not turtles
turtles.
yet.
Well, we saw, it doesn't count. We saw a turtle, Mary did.
I saw the ones on the side that went too fast.
But the sippy tonight for me is not coffee, because we have to get up early tomorrow and go on a fun adventure, number 3. But
I have Pepsi.
Mary has Pepsi.
I have good old Southern cheer wine.
Oh, what is that?
Cherry cola.
Oh,
I was like, what is that?
I love that.
Fancy cherry cola.
Good.
Yes.
So it is the South here, and Coca-Cola is king. So Mary's been having a little bit of a hard time because Pepsi is not as common.
Pepsi is better.
Luckily,
So-
Publix carries Pepsi.
Yeah.
Yes,
so.
we did.
My
go to the
little
store. She
tiny
got her
can
Pepsi.
actually fit in this. Perfect. with
Oh,
all my
there
eyes.
you
So I was
go.
like, well,
So I have ice water, boring, but I don't want to
should
stay
have
up till
water.
3.
no, coffee doesn't do that to me.
Mm.
I did tell Lucas that.
You're lucky.
Dunkin' Donuts is out. I'm not a Dunkin' Donuts fan.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
So-
unless you're like Phaedra and you go back and ask for the extra
coffee.
Yes.
Yeah, so what you want to do is you want to order like half coffee, half of their coffee.
Because,
milk.
I will tell you that if you are, I love iced coffee, but Dunkin' Donuts, they use a sweet-based coffee milk.
Yeah.
And it's a
I didn't
white,
know that.
sweet milk. And they fill it like 3/4 full, and then they put like, maybe, I don't know, an inch and a half of actual
shot of
coffee.
coffee.
Yeah.
And so I started drinking it and I was like, woo!
That's
So
what
I
took a
kind
big
of
sip.
sucked it down, and then
Yeah.
I went back to the counter. I'm like, can you put more coffee in here? And she's like another shot of espresso?
Yeah.
I'm like, yes,
Yes.
please.
Yes. Yeah.
And then
Maybe
it was,
two?
and then it was just right.
Yeah.
So,
I said I got it, and I was like, we got a donut to go with it because we're at Dunkin' Donuts, and I was like, God, I don't even need the donut.
don't need the extra sugar, right?
It was really sweet. It was good, but it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
So we here in the South,
Oh, the fan.
we have our fans.
Yes.
We have our iced coffee drinks.
Sweet
Tamara
tea.
had sweet tea.
Yes.
Oh,
Sweet
let me tell you, the
barbecue.
food. The food
Yeah.
today was fabulous. So the first night we had kind of a farm to table experience. I had my first deep fried stuffed squash blossom, which I always wanted to try, and they were delicious. Another night we had hush puppies.
Yes.
Or we had lunch yesterday at a place where we had hush puppies. I tried alligator. It was like a taco tiki bar kind of joint.
Right.
Oh, it was huge tiki bar, gigantic.
I
It was
mean, I posted
gorgeous.
pictures on my personal Facebook page, so if there's any of you out there who are subscribed to this channel but don't have me as a friend, just friend request me and tell me your Screens and Beans. I'll add you to my Facebook group.
Yeah. It was cool. It was a cool.
We
tiki
should
bar.
start a Screens and Beans Facebook group, actually. That's a good idea. Note to
Yeah,
self.
that's on you. I don't know. I don't know how to do any of that.
I
don't
can
know. We
figure
might
that
need to
out.
supervise. Remember the
That's
other
right.
days we had to
Yes.
Google out?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
We need adult
I
supervision.
almost had a tantrum trying to create a photo album in my Google Photos. I hate Google Photos, by the way.
Yeah.
But
Third time's a charm.
But it's
Well,
a really.
if Mary would get an iPhone, then we could
Oh,
just
God,
share
right?
across the iPhone.
I barely know how to work my
Talk
phone
about
now.
complicated.
Yeah.
Don't
I
do that
know.
to her.
She had to ask me, "Do you have Google?" I'm like, "I don't know. Do I?" I don't know. I don't use it.
Oh Lord.
Maybe
And
we'll
then-
Google.
Today I had my first southern fried green tomato experience. It was
It was
delicious.
good.
It was
I
good.
never had one either. But
And
it's
then
really
we
good.
had southern like barbecue food.
Yeah.
So ribs and chicken and brisket.
Brisket.
And what else? Mac and cheese,
Mac and
green
cheese,
beans,
Fried
coleslaw.
cinnamon
potato
apples.
salad.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the cornbread was fantastic.
Yes, the cornbread was
I
amazing.
really liked the
The
cornbread.
sweet tea was spectacular too. For those of you.
Oh,
who
and they
like
have
Southern
Pepsi.
sweet tea.
I had a Pepsi.
Oh, yeah, they had-
I was very excited. They had a
That's
Pepsi.
right. They had Pepsi at the
And
barbecue.
at the pool, they have Pepsi too. They have
But
a vending
the
machine.
glass was a
That's right.
two-fister glass.
Yeah,
Like I was like, oh my god, it's
It
so
was like
big.
32 ounces probably.
Oh, I know. It was way
was-
more sugar
yeah,
than
way
I
more
needed
than
to
it.
adjust. But
Yeah, I'm
on vacation. I had
I'm
fun.
really
It's all
glad they
good.
didn't come and refill like you halfway. I was like, yeah, no.
I
This
drank,
one
I
is
drank
good.
probably a gallon of sweet tea today.
It was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. She refilled twice. So I'm thinking I drank a gallon. I'm not going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I'll go to sleep, I don't know, Monday.
Yeah, no. We gotta wake up to take us to the airport.
Yeah,
though.
at least get a ride to the airport. So Tamara lives in a place called the Villages, which is truly individual, like community villages, all interconnected with
Golf cart
paths,
Golf
which
carts.
also is like a bike path or walk path. And then like streets and neighborhoods and houses are different themes and
And these are
squares
golf carts
different
on
themes.
steroids.
I mean, it's like each square that we've been in, look, the streets are filled with golf carts. It looks like Sturgis with golf carts. What Mary
Sturgis with
dubbed
golf
it.
carts.
Yeah, it's
I was
insane.
like, oh my gosh.
And live music and happy hour starts at 4
I mean,
o'clock.
these
People
retirees know how to
They
live,
party.
man.
Yeah.
The
I'm
golf carts are the
jealous.
coolest things because they get them decked out and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Tamara has one that looks like a little mini car, like a
Yeah.
little like
Complete with air conditioning, heat, backup
It looks
camera.
like a Matchbox car.
Somebody
Yeah.
should really start a YouTube channel called Pimp My Cart because
Yeah.
there are some amazing
They're
golf carts that
cool.
could be shown
Yeah,
off.
we saw one that looked like
Yeah.
an old car, an
Yeah.
old
Yeah. Oh, the one today that
And
was the
Harley
tiki
Davidson
theme.
theme.
the
and the
tiki
tiki
theme
theme.
one.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
cool.
And Harley Davidson. I mean,
Yeah.
they're fantastic.
I would actually have tiki torches coming out mine.
I don't know
But
if you could.
there's also some terrible rumors about the place I live that supposedly we're all swingers. And that how we display, how we swing is we tie loofahs to our cars and our golf carts. So to make Mary and Phaedra feel at home, before they came, I mailed back to them in Washington their Villages
loofah.
beginner's kit.
That's right. We have our loofahs.
I know.
So
I've been talking all weekend as I wanted to get a new tattoo. So I'm gonna get an iced coffee and then some of the like the coffee and the Stanley cups have little ornaments that I'm gonna get a loofah hanging off my coffee cup.
So Mary has
to represent
purple.
Florida.
Mary has purple, and purple means she is a voyeur.
I'm a voyeur.
Yes.
Which I probably
And-
could do.
Phaedra has pink,
I have pink.
and that means soft swap.
Oh.
But really, the real loofah code when you're in the Villages is pink means I forget what my car looks like, but I remember what this pink loofah looks like. And Mary's means I am sick and tired about hearing these loofah rumors.
Yeah, I don't give a F.
And what's your loofah color that you have
I
in
don't
your
have
shower?
one.
You don't have a loofah in your shower?
I don't.
I actually
I
have
have-
3 in my shower.
I have exfoliating gloves.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
I
All
cheated.
right, fine.
Yeah.
We did see a multicolor pack today of all the colors.
yeah,
that
oh
was
my
really
God, the
funny.
pack!
Yeah, there's like 6 or 9
You could
loofahs.
display them all in a row on a stick.
Just in case you can't make up your
No, they
mind.
have one Mondays and Fridays. Every damn week, you got a different color. You're like, today it feels like white.
You can put them in a little basket, draw one out. It could be
Yes,
yourself.
yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So you know, like back in the 70s, you'd leave your keys in a bowl. I mean, I was a little kid, so I didn't do this, but I heard about how people would have
Sure,
the
you
swinger
heard about
parties,
it.
Yeah.
and then you'd
Sure.
put your keys in a bowl, and then people would draw keys out, and then you end up with like that person in the bedroom. I guess you could do it with loofahs.
Matching loofahs.
Yeah, oh,
Everybody
yeah.
grab your loofah color, and then
then a
you
loofah-
pair up.
That's
There
hilarious.
you go.
I
There
don't
you
know,
go.
man.
They're really soft loofahs.
It's a really
They are.
cool place. I've been enjoying myself
Oh, yes.
immensely. Thank you for hosting
Yes.
us.
Oh,
You've been
I'm
We
so
love
glad.
you.
I'm so glad.
She's taken us, so she rented a 4-person golf cart, and it's like open air. We've been driving all over the
Oh,
place.
yeah.
It's been so much
It's
fantastic.
fantastic. I've never realized how much
Except the
fun they are.
steering
Yeah.
wheel.
Oh
She's like, gosh,
like a bus driver.
I'm
It
gonna
doesn't-
have
yeah.
biceps of steel.
It
because
doesn't have power steering, which is like a real bummer. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of roundabouts for golf.
There's
carts.
roundabouts.
There's actual roundabouts. It's hilarious.
There's
It is.
tunnels. You go through tunnels and sidewalks, and I mean, it's very. I feel like a maze, like the guinea pigs and the
Yes.
rats that get the mazes with these golf carts, because and then you're like, whoa, where are we?
As soon as she gets on a path, like I have no idea where.
Yeah,
I am.
we're gone.
Like
Yeah.
I
Luckily, I've
really.
brought you home.
Yes,
Every time
I
that
feel
you
like
come
we
out.
need the
Every
string
time.
though, like that tie your string and go and follow the
Crumbs,
string. Yeah.
breadcrumbs out the
Actually,
side of the golf
what
cart.
we need is to map my ride and like look at all
Oh.
the little dash lines of like everywhere
Yep.
we went. That would be
Oh,
hilarious.
we'd be all over the place.
Oh
But
my gosh.
it's gorgeous here, and the
Yes,
architect and the
yes.
different houses and these
Yes.
things called bird cages. Is that
Well,
what
the
they're
bird
called?
cages are on either side. The covered with the roof is lanai.
Oh,
So
well,
we are on.
We took the Hawaiian word.
oh,
Yes, so
okay.
we're on Tamara. We're filming right now on Tamara's Lanai, so it's completely screened in on all sides, so no alligators can come in,
bugs.
no bugs, which is
That's the big
amazing.
thing. Mosquitoes. It's like
yeah.
Minnesota. They're huge here.
Yeah,
Which we
so
haven't
we
seen any.
really
I haven't seen
appreciate that we can just be
It's
sitting out
because
here.
we have these screens.
I know, but even outside.
That's because we're only out at daylight.
Oh, okay, well.
Go on out there.
Yeah,
Walk,
go
walk
ahead.
towards the preserve.
No,
Let-
because
let's
there
see
could
how-
be something out there else.
Mary's been trying to make love to a lizard.
I'm
all
trying to catch a lizard.
She just wants to put it in her
I want to put it in my
pocket.
pocket
She
and
wants,
take it home.
she wants a pocket lizard. I mean, hello.
They're
Your
so
husbands are never
cool.
going to encourage you to
I
come back.
know.
No,
I
yeah.
know.
Yeah, what did I try? Oh, an alligator. I held an alligator, and that's the
She
first thing he told me.
did.
You can't bring it home. I want to bring that home.
It grows.
Yeah, they get
They
bigger.
don't stay little
Yeah.
like
They
that for long.
bite.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But I can't
Hence-
believe that's the first
Hence
thing
the
you
little
said,
thing
though.
that they have.
Yeah, they wrapped the
They
snout
had like
so it
ace
couldn't
bandage
chomp.
almost
Yeah.
around his
So I was like,
so
why
they
would I
hurt
want to
him.
bring it home? Of all things, I'm not bringing. I'd bring a lizard home though. If I
Yeah.
catch one, I'm bringing one home.
No. You can't take that through security. No.
I'm wondering how they
Did you want
scan
to move in?
I'm gonna put it in a
when they
jar.
scan it when they scan the suitcase and see something running
Yeah.
around.
Oh,
I don't
Lord.
think
I'm
that-
gonna go. What are they called?
I
Those,
think you'll be
those
flagged.
cans, like in Jurassic Park, where they
Oh
open
my
up and
god!
put
Yeah,
it in
that
there.
was eggs. That wasn't a live animal.
It'll work.
Oh my
Don't
god!
burst my
She's
bubble.
gonna have a dead, moldy, stinky lizard when she
Oh,
gets
Lordy.
home.
I'm gonna take it out on the
Oh
plane.
my
Well,
god!
instead of snakes on the plane, it'll be a lizard.
Oh, I am so like not touching the floor.
Phaedra, are you sure you want to go home with her?
I
First class will be interesting.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I will be sitting in the luggage rack on top. I don't want any creepy crawlies on me.
It'll be fun.
Oh my
I
gosh!
swear. It'll be
So
fun.
I happened to think of a theme that ended up kind of coinciding with Central Florida, really, because there are a lot of interesting creepy crawlies in this
There
area.
are.
There are. You could be walking around and not knowing that like an alligator might be stalking you, or you know,
Most
there's.
alligators are scared of you, though.
That's true. I don't want to give the wrong impression, but I mean they do.
Why
kind of,
not? You know, we started with the loofahs.
They do kind of
Let's
freak me out.
Let's make some rumors about
So
alligators.
our theme is horror thriller movies with characters in vulnerable situations. So like
They
you
added
know,
thriller because of me, because I don't do horror.
like the movie Jaws, and you know, we did a whole bunch of movies, but there was this blurb that I wanted to read on the psychology behind horror's dark allure. Horror movies and / thriller movies are powerful psychological tools, often created to evoke primal fears that we all possess. Fear of death, the unknown, isolation, or pain. I prefer no pain.
Yeah.
When
I could
you
vote.
when you watch a horror film, your mind enters a heightened state where survival instincts kick in, albeit within the safe environment of a movie theater or living room. Dr. Glenn Walters, in an article for Psychology Today, mentions how horror films play on 3 essential factors: tension, relevance, and unrealism. Each of these taps into human psychology, giving us a thrill and sense of relief when it's over. And I've heard other psychologists compare going to a horror movie for teenagers, especially like a thrill ride.
Mhm.
Like you kind of have that
The up and down.
up and then down, because
Oh.
you have like that
But then you still get to
anxiety, and then
leave
like
safely,
and then you're safe, and then you're like relaxed. However, individuals with violent tendencies may not experience the same relief.
It's like that book you bought today. It's
Yes.
an instruction manual.
That's right. For some with
Careful,
psychopathic,
for those of you who know Phaedra.
I know, I'm a true crime person. For some with psychopathic or violent inclinations, horror movies can serve as fuel for fantasy rather than just a passing thrill.
I wonder if they take notes.
Unlike typical viewers who walk away from a horror movie feeling safe, some people feel exhilarated and drawn to the violent imagery itself, often as an affirmation of their own thoughts or desires. I can tell you the friends I have are not these people. They are not the, I'm going to take notes and learn
Yeah.
how to become a
Yeah.
better serial killer. The friends I have are like me. We just like the thrill of it.
You're right.
We're normal. We don't have those psychopathic tendencies.
And should one of your
I
friends
just
be
like
murdered?
reading about the people who
Yeah.
have psychopathic tendencies. And I think I want to start a series called Murder in the Villages.
Yeah.
Each village has a murder
You can-
mystery.
You can write off the trips to come visit them.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
I gotta
Cool.
do
That's a good
research
strategy.
trips.
Yeah,
Nice.
research trip.
Yes.
Each trip requires
Oh, because then if
more
it's a business,
about
you
each
can, You
village.
can put it on the tax.
That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
That's right. Right
Phaedra's
on.
thinking.
Yeah, I need an agent if you're out there.
It's her first book, but it's going to be
Right?
stellar.
It'll be
It'd be
great. We'll
fantastic.
do a series. There might be some Netflix series going on after it. You know, I got a whole thing planned.
Right.
That way I can become rich and just live here part time of the year, and you know,
I
Dave
can come
in
visit.
retirement can come hang and golf, and while I'm still working, and
And
then I'll
disc
just join him
golf.
for
Yeah.
a couple weeks at a time.
That's a good disc
Um,
Yeah.
I
Which
don't
is not
think
a frisbee.
I don't
It's
think
a
I
disc.
could ever talk him into moving to Florida, but honest to God, it's been really fun.
It's been fun. Yeah. I don't do well with the heat, but it's not been too bad.
It's been what
Yeah.
in the 90s,
High
maybe
80s,
high
low
80s,
90s. Yeah,
90s.
because we're having a heat wave
But-
right now.
But
course.
honestly,
Of course,
it
anyway.
hasn't been. I was worried about the muggy factor. It's really not.
Yeah, it's
been
not
that
been
bad.
bad. No.
And
I
there's
was
been a
bad at all.
breeze.
I was just
for
telling my
most of the
husband because he
time.
asked me how red I was.
Oh.
Because I'm white.
Oh yeah, Dave.
I
Oh,
burned.
you're doing great.
And
Dave
I'm like-
asked me that too. Like, did you get sunburn? I'm like, well, considering Mary has SPF 100 that I use, I don't think I got a freckle.
I gotta get the good stuff, man, because I burn. But I was just telling, I was like, no, actually, I've done pretty good.
Yeah.
I hadn't.
You have a little bit of redness right
Oh,
here
do I?
and a little bit in your cheek, but that's
Oh.
it. But
Oh,
it's
it's
not
not
red
bad.
red. It's
No,
like
yeah,
tan
I don't
red.
feel burnt.
It's like
nothing's
tangy
burnt.
red. No,
Yeah.
You're not
So I feel
burned.
like I've done really
Just a
good.
little color,
My
yeah.
goddamn legs are still white.
Well, that's
Yeah.
because it's FBF 100.
I don't put it on my legs.
Oh, you don't?
She was
Oh.
hoping for a little bit.
Oh.
I want a little color
Well,
on my
that's-
legs.
See, you gotta sit in the sun for that.
I did.
She did that today. She tried.
We were undercover. That wasn't
I
sunshine.
had a
We
toe
were
out.
Oh my God.
Toe out.
That is.
Is it tan? Is that toe tan?
No.
Oh my God. You
No.
guys. This is what I've been putting up with all.
You love us.
I do. Oh my
The
God.
giggles we've had this whole time has been
it's
hilarious.
hilarious. We've had some good times.
I'm gonna miss this.
I am too.
Yeah.
Me too.
We're all
We
gonna-
gotta make it
we're all
a
gonna
thing.
probably
It's
leave.
just, I know.
know.
If we
I
gotta
know.
make it a regular thing. I'm
But it
telling
will
you.
be up in Washington in September, so I'll see you.
Yay.
Okay, good.
So we won't have to go too
Yay.
long.
Okay.
Okay.
That's not too far away.
No.
Wait, September. So you wouldn't be there at October retreat.
Retreat,
Okay,
no.
okay. That, you know.
We
I
can make a
know.
retreat.
It's Keith's niece's fault. If only she'd scheduled a wedding.
Can you
Can
just
you
get
just move
married
it?
on the
Could you
weekend?
move it to this weekend specifically? You only need one day for a wedding,
That's
you
right.
know? Jeez.
Probably just a few hours.
Right, yeah.
You can still do it on a Saturday.
In and out. Where'd Tamara go?
Apparently, it's not all about me.
And then we make it,
Oh,
we'll have to make it in
man.
Chimacum, so then you're
Man.
close.
Actually, they're going to do it Bay Lake.
I don't know
So
where
where's
that's not
that?
very
I don't
far.
either.
Just south of Shelton.
Oh, okay, okay.
Ah, it isn't very far.
Yeah, it's not very far.
Okay, we're gonna hijack this wedding. Start sending
Oh
notes.
my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I was thinking of this theme, I was thinking about like the things that, like if you were swimming in a lake and it's totally innocent, you're just swimming along, but all of a sudden you might get a feeling like is something in the water under me? Is there something following me? Is someone on shore watching or stalking? Like you just get that weird vibe
Or you
feeling.
hear music
The hair on the
background.
back of your neck just stands up. Yeah. Something happens where it just kind of freaks you out. So that was kind of what movies we focus on. So we thought we would do a little blurb on Lurking in the Water, on Jaws, The Shallows, Dead Calm, The Invisible Man, Sleeping with the Enemy, A Quiet Place, Psycho, Peeping Tom, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, The Fog, and What Lies Beneath. So all of these are in different categories. So we have things that lurk in the water, things that are like an invisible stalker, things
That's
that are,
Sleeping with the
well,
Enemy.
serial killer,
Yeah.
right? And then revenge movies that have like that creepy vibe. So we kind of as a group decided on what movies we were going to discuss because there's like 10 million out there and it was really hard.
It was really hard.
Narrow it down. So this might be a long episode and we might not even stick to topics. We might just start yakking at you.
No, we wouldn't
you
do
know.
that.
It'll be
But
normal.
so
Phaedra
Mary,
has an agenda, and we will
I mean,
follow
we
it.
don't have to.
We never do
We never
anyways.
do anyway. We stick to maybe like 3 movies and we start yakking.
Yeah.
So whatever. But like Lurking in the Water. So Mary turned me on to the movie Crawl. And I was like, what is that about? And it's gigantic alligators that swarm around a young woman and her father as floodwaters engulf their homes.
It made me think of Florida. I can't
It
can't
did.
remember if it said where it was at.
It looks like Southern Florida is what it looked like to me.
It was a movie where it was a parent that was losing their house, like their divorce, and so they were losing their house, and the estranged family, and they had the hurricane warning. And the daughter's trying to contact the dad, to be like, are you out, So she can't get a hold of him, so she goes down there and she can't find him anywhere. So she ends up going into the basement and she finds her dad. Unbeknownst to her, there's fucking alligators down there.
Oh.
There's a drainage thing that goes
Yep.
from her house out into the swampy thing, and they came
Up
through
through
there. So they had attacked the dad first, and then they attacked her, and they got stuck in the basement.
Yes, with
With-
huge,
and they're huge
alligators. I mean, I'm not even.
And
I
obviously,
don't know.
alligators don't just attack people,
Right.
but these all did. They were alligators that attacked
They
people.
portrayed it as like these, like something, the levees or somewhere wherever they were,
Burst.
something burst, and
Yeah.
like all of a sudden the town is like maybe 20 feet deep in water.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden there's like
Alligators
alligators
everywhere.
everywhere. And I'm
Yeah.
like, would there really be hundreds of alligators like, in stormwater
Like
areas?
one area kind of thing, yeah.
But
There's a bunch of them out there, but they can get so territorial that I think before they would start attacking the humans,
they would attack
They
each
would
other.
attack
yeah.
each other. They'd be like, dude, this is my
you could
world.
see some fighting each other and stuff like that, but the whole thing is that it was the last thing you thought that would be down there. So now they're stuck down here. The
Yeah.
water level's rising. They can't get out of the basement. So what are they going to do? And every time that they would try to devise a plan to get, so they got behind these boards and stuff to get away from the alligators. But then, so they thought they got one, and all of a sudden there is another one. And
Yeah,
they're
there
like,
kept
"Fuck!"
becoming
Like,
more and more
They kept
and more.
more and more, and they kept showing up, and then
And
people would
never
try to
ending.
come help, and then they would get eaten
Right.
because they didn't know that, and they can't get a hold of anybody, and
Oh.
it was just a creepy movie because it's like every time they
Did it
tried
have
to
a
get
happy
away,
ending?
they got out.
They survived
One
in
lost
the end. And
the
spoiler
dad-
alert, they
dad
didn't
lost-
die.
Dad lost an arm.
Yes.
But they ended up getting to
The
because they
roof.
got out of the basement, and then they went to get out on a boat, and then the alligators attacked the boat. So they got up into the attic and then burst through the attic, but and you could see them swimming around. But they were
And
they
the
were
water
safe.
was almost up to the second floor, so like it was almost burying the house.
Yeah.
And so they were up on the roof, and then they were able to get a signal to a rescue helicopter that was
going
going around.
yeah. All right.
And the movie just ended with the assumption that they got rescued,
Yeah.
but really we don't know
Yeah.
because it ended.
And the dog survived.
It's like
The puppy
it's like the
survived.
director.
As long as they don't kill the
I was
dog.
very
I
happy
know.
that the dog survived.
The dog
Yeah.
survived. So it was a thrill, but it was so far fetched. It was kind of laughable.
I just thought
at
about it
times.
because it was Florida.
But it was kind of fun because it was like gators and
Yeah.
scary and you're
Yeah.
trapped
Yeah.
and like you're like going along and all of a sudden you turn because you feel something looking at you
And that's
and
what-
it's alligator eyes and,
that's
a
what it
giant
was.
snout.
All of a sudden, she turned around and it was there, and it ran at her and bit her, and you're just like, "What the fuck was this?" And then the dad's
Yes.
like, "Watch out for the alligator," and she's like, "No shit,"
Yeah. which is similar to the opening of Jaws, right? The woman's just swimming along innocently, and then Jaws comes up and like grabs her, and she drowns, and then they find the dead body on the beach, and you're like, oh my god, this movie.
But I always wondered where the boyfriend, because it's just like, where'd you go?
I know.
There was no effort to look for like, hey.
Maybe they weren't really in love.
Yeah, I know, right? He's like, I'm out.
Maybe
Obviously,
he knew.
I'm not getting in the water.
Maybe he knew Jaws was there. He's like, I think we should go for a night swim. I think you should go first.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I gotcha.
Oh my gosh. So Jaws and what did I just say?
Crawl.
This movie, Crawl, both have that element of like surprise attack and gore and scary thrill ride at the same time. A movie that I recently watched that I really liked, I had my mom watch it, called The Shallows with Blake Lively.
Mm-hmm.
She's just, I love her. I loved her, a Gossip Girl. I love everything that woman does. She's just great. And she was really good in this movie. It was basically, she's a surfer. She's going to this beach in Mexico that her mom was at when she was pregnant with her daughter. So she's pregnant with Blake Lively's character, and she's a surfer, so she's out at this beach. She has video of herself surfing with, her pregnant belly. And so her mother died of cancer, and as a way for Blake to deal with that and honor her mother, she wanted to go to the very same beach and surf and feel close to her mom. And so she ends up swimming out, meet some locals, they surf. The locals take off. She keeps, she's like, I'm going to go out one more time. And she ends up by this dead, bloated whale that has like chunks missing. And what she didn't realize was she was in a great white shark hunting ground. And so she becomes chased and attacked and ends up on this little tiny rock that's like poking up
like
out
an
of the
island,
water.
not an island, but a coral kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's like a solid rock, so it's not, so she's able to kind of chill out there, but she's having to like tourniquet her leg because she had gotten attacked.
Yeah.
And so there's another, the whole thing is just, your heart's racing. You're like, oh my God, what's going to happen to her? Is she going to be okay?
Well,
so
the shark was after her.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
like
it
Jaws, where it wanted her.
It knew that like,
her blood.
Well, no, I think it was the territorial
it was just the
thing.
hunting ground. But what was so creepy is they kind of pan out in one scene, and she's looking one way, and we could see like 3 giant great whites like circling her.
So you know the dangers there.
Yes,
She's like,
she knows that she's in trouble, but I don't think she knew that there were multiple sharks.
Yeah.
Steep.
And
trouble.
then there was a guy on the beach who she yells to for help, and he ends up like,
He stole her bag.
he like took her backpack and like walked
And
off.
walked
Like
off.
she's like, hello,
Yeah.
help, and she's in Mexico, so she's trying to say the right words in
for
Spanish,
Spanish.
but she's not good
Her
at
leg's
Spanish.
bleeding. She's had to
I
do a
know,
tourniquet.
it's just crazy.
There's large,
Yeah.
giant
So
shark.
the good news
Little bit
is
stress.
the good news is she survives, but I swear to God, I was on the edge of my seat the whole movie. I loved it.
Because it kept wanting to get her, so it's like no matter what
Yes.
she did, even when she tried to go, it would came, and then the other surfers came. Some other surfers came back, and she's like, "Shark, shark!" And they're like, "There's no sharks here!" And it jumps out and gets them. And they're like, "Oh shit, yeah, there is!"
Yeah, it was nuts.
But it was and she killed it. She actually had to kill it herself. And the way that she did it was amazing. But
yeah, we won't give that away.
No, won't give that
you gotta
away.
watch.
It was a little MacGyver-y kind.
Yeah,
It was
just the
very
fact that
clever.
It was
very
just
clever.
the fact that it was after her. Like it specifically, instead of just going off and just
This is
doing his
personal
thing.
kind of a thing.
Yeah, and you're like, what?
And
I didn't mean to go by the whale.
I know,
I don't want it.
It wanted to
Sushi's
finish
not
the
my
job.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But it was a scary
Dead
movie,
bloated whale blubber.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah,
It'll be delicious.
just not there
Fried
for
with a little bacon grease.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So the next movie that we have in the category of lurking in the water is Dead Calm, and this is an old movie from
I don't know
the
this one.
80s or 90s, and it's Nicole Kidman, and I'm gonna be really naughty. I don't remember the actors. So it's Nicole Kidman
And some dude.
oh God, I don't remember his name.
Well, we have this amazing thing called the internet.
Yes, Google Dead Calm really quick. So the
Do I have Google?
Shut up.
Nicole Kidman's character is Ray. She's married to a guy named John Ingram. So John and Ray, recovering from an auto accident, are on their sailboat, and they're somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. They're leisurely, isolated, like having a good vacation. They're interrupted by a character named Huey, who's a lone survivor of a sinking black schooner they spot one morning. He rows over to their boat. He talks himself of getting on board. He says, everybody on my crew is dead, and he makes it sound like it's, yes, that it's Billy Zane.
Oh.
So Billy
Sam
Zane was
Neill.
the bad guy, and Sam Neill. So Sam Neill and Nicole Kidman are married, and Billy Zane is
And
the bad guy.
It was 1989. That was her curly
Thank
hair.
you, yes.
She had the big
Yep.
hair.
Yes.
Big red hair.
Yes, big red hair. It's
So-
not quite big enough.
So Billy Zane gets on the boat, and they're trying to be nice and host, but he's got a weird vibe, and they keep asking him questions about what happened, and he doesn't want to talk about it.
No good
And
information.
so they at one point she makes some lemonade down in the bottom lower of their, what do you call that on a boat where you have your galley?
Your galley.
And she puts sleeping pill or something in it for him, and he knocks out. And so Sam Neill's character hops in a dinghy and rows over to the boat, finds all these dead bodies, finds some video footage.
Oh.
Basically, they were filming pornos on the boat. Something happened and went down, and like mass murder happened. And the lone
Jeez.
survivor is Billy Zane, who's really the bad guy. And so it's very tense. It's very
I'll have to
like
watch
you
that.
think that you're gonna like Billy Zane and like, oh, where's this movie
Well,
going?
he's
No, they're
usually
gonna
a great-
sail
great
off and like
character,
maybe
so-
some. You're not thinking of him as the bad guy at first. You're like, oh, I wonder if they're gonna. Now they're all three on this boat, and I wonder if they're gonna sail and run into some pirates. Like, what's the thrill part of this movie? It ends up being him. So it's a really good.
Ooh, that sounds
It's
interesting.
a really good movie.
I haven't seen it.
Me either.
So that was my favorite scene, was when Ray makes the lemonade, and like she's like, it's so good. She makes some for herself. I'm like, ooh, this is so good. He's like, that you make that look delicious. Can I have one? And then she like secretly drugs him. I'm like,
Yes. Well, you can.
Yes, you can.
This special.
Yes. So,
Don't mind
Again.
the tartness.
Again, we learned that you shouldn't just
Don't share
take
drinks.
drinks from strangers.
Yeah. But that's kind of an interesting twist. We were filming a porno and a serial killing broke out.
Yeah, I mean,
how did that evolve?
and that's where I'm like, I'm not going to give anything away because you guys
Okay.
need to watch the movie,
Okay.
because they
The
do
snuff
kind
film?
of explain that a little bit, but.
All
Snuff
right.
gone wrong.
Okay, so the next category is Invisible Stalker. And
Oh.
Mary brought me to this one, The Invisible Man.
It's the newer Invisible Man.
So, a film follows Cecilia, who receives the news of her abusive ex-boyfriend's suicide. She begins to rebuild her life for the better. However, her sense of reality is put into question when she begins to suspect that her deceased lover is not actually dead. So,
Yeah.
there's at first you're thinking she's just nuts, because you can't really, she's experiencing things that we can't really see what's going on,
Right.
until she's standing in the doorway of her house, and she's looking out because she thinks she heard something, and the breath is, you can see her breath right in the cold of standing in the front door.
Oh.
And all of a sudden you see this puff of breath behind her, but there's no one there.
Yeah.
So like the Invisible Man, right?
Oh,
So then
that's
you're like,
creepy.
oh shit, she's not crazy, and then
Yeah.
it just takes off from there, and it's actually a really well
the
done
whole time
movie.
he gaslights it. The whole, like,
Yes.
her family, her friends think she's
They
crazy.
think she's nuts.
And she's just like, no, I'm telling you, something's wrong. Something's
Yes.
going on. And things move. He moves shit. And it's just that psychological where you know something's wrong, and nobody will help you. Nobody will believe
Yeah,
you.
nobody. But it's
all
got to be
right.
the
It's all,
worst.
yeah, and
That's
so
got to
then
be
you-
the
But then
worst.
you start thinking, oh my God, is it in my head? Am I
Right.
going fucking crazy?
Mhm.
And then when you find out that it's not, you're just like, holy shit, what the hell? And,
Yeah.
and the things that he does to her, I won't give it away because I thought it was a really good
It is a really
psychological
good,
movie.
and I know there was like an original one done way back either 50s or 60s.
I think 60s.
The
But
black,
the- but
was it
there's
black
another-
and white
yeah.
or one of those?
And
And,
then
I'm
there's
sure it's good. I haven't seen
There's
it, but
another
this
one.
modern
There's
version.
another one after that with Kevin Bacon and Elizabeth
Oh,
Shue.
yeah, you're right.
Back
And
in
I
the
didn't
80s.
like that one.
Yeah, this one I thought was really
I
well
didn't
done.
like that one because it made him. Kevin Bacon was a nice character, and it's like because he became invisible, he became this narcissist bad guy who could do anything. I didn't like the fact that that's where they went with it. Where to me,
Oh.
you're invisible.
Oh, it's the gal who was in Mad Men
Yes.
and The Handmaid's Tale
Yes,
too.
she's really
Oh,
good
and
in this
yeah.
movie.
So I felt like this invisible one, where where people have more now with that gaslighting BS and stuff. I just the whole thought that something's wrong and nobody will believe
Oh,
you.
it says it's loosely based on H.G. Wells' 1897 novel.
Invisible
Oh,
Man.
H.G. Wells. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it actually was a really good movie. I just you just feel for this person.
You do.
And
Oh, and you're right. Black and white, 1933.
Okay.
Sorry,
Oh,
we didn't-
33.
Yeah.
I was way off. I thought
Yeah,
like
so was
50s
I.
or 60s.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So what's her name?
Her name is Elizabeth Moss. Say that 5 times fast.
I got that.
Elizabeth Moss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kudos to you,
Yeah.
Elizabeth. 'cause
She did fantastic.
You did amazing.
She was a fantastic actor in it. Yeah.
Okay, so the other Invisible Stalker movie that I personally love from
one of my
the
favorite movies,
80s,
too.
Sleeping
Yes.
with the Enemy,
Yeah.
Julia Roberts, whatever that jerk off that she's married to. I don't even care what his
I
name
don't know
is.
what
as
his
an
name
actor.
was.
He's so good as an actor that he really irritated
Yes.
and pissed me off. So I'm
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
you suck. I don't want to know your name.
Yeah.
But he did a really amazing job. So the premise is Laura and Martin have been married for 4 years. They seem to be the perfect, happiest, and most successful couple. The reality of their household, however, is very different. Martin is an abusive, brutally obsessed husband. Laura is living her life in a constant fear and waits for a chance to escape. She finally stages her own death and flees to a new town and new identity. But when Martin finds out that his wife is not dead, he will stop at nothing to find her and kill her. And so basically you're stalked by a crazy, jealous husband with no compunction for empathy this guy is
Right.
a cold fish.
Yes.
And all he wants is,
And enjoys
The-
torture.
Yeah.
he
almost.
does, he's sadistic.
Even if it's just psychological.
Oh yeah,
torture.
he's obsessive. I mean, if you guys haven't seen this movie,
It's.
I don't want to give you too many spoilers, but and the ones who have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Like just that obsessive compulsive. Like Mary can relate to it. She has some OCD issues.
Yeah.
We all know.
I have OCD
But
issues.
they don't turn into sadistic torture. So
It does when things don't go right.
maybe Lucas feels a little tortured. I don't know.
The towels aren't facing the right way.
I haven't interviewed him. Maybe he gets spanked when things are not right. But, so, just the simple act of I'll give you this one spoiler. The simple act of you're in your kitchen, it's just you, but you get this feeling like, was somebody here? And because her husband was so obsessive compulsive, all the towels had to be even. All the cans and the
Facing
food
the
had to
right.
face forward. So she moves into her own place, right? And she starts putting everything away exactly as she used to and realizes
She doesn't
I
need torture.
don't need to do this. So she
Yeah.
starts putting everything in messy, right?
Yeah.
So she opens the cupboard door and everything is perfectly faced, perfectly neat.
Yeah.
The towels in the bathroom are perfectly even. So she knows she's screwed.
He's found her. Yeah.
That she's been found out. And so it's a thrill ride. It's a really good
Yeah.
thrill ride.
The only thing that I have to say is that I felt like she did a fantastic job planning her death.
Yes.
And had everything staged. And the thing that she did wrong, I won't tell you what she did wrong, but the thing that she
it
did
was
wrong, I was so stupid.
Yeah. It's like, really? You're
Why
gonna
would
do
you
that?
do that?
Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I don't want to
It's
give
one
it
of those things.
Yeah, we won't
where
give
you
it
don't
away.
think about that it's gonna happen, and you're just like,
You couldn't have checked that one detail?
yeah. I'm just like, there's so many other
Yeah.
ways that you could have disposed of this object.
Yes.
That nobody would have found it, and
Yeah.
I was really disappointed.
So the last invisible stalker that we have is A Quiet Place. And if you guys have not seen at least the first movie, honestly God, I thought both of them were really, really good.
Yes.
But the first movie especially for me, it was finally like an original new concept that Hollywood came out with, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. I didn't think I was gonna like it because I'm like, well, this whole movie, like, nobody's talking. This is nuts. But you get into it, and you're like, you're quiet. Well, you become quiet while you're watching this movie because you're like, I don't want to make the noise and like
say anything.
It just psychologically messes with you. So the premise is a family struggles for survival in a world invaded by blind alien creatures with ultra sensitive hearing. So they like that would attract the creature and they would come and eat you and you're gone. Like clinking of ice would attract the creature. Walking and like on gravel.
Breaking a stick.
Yes, I mean every little thing. So check this out. So in the movie, this woman is pregnant. And she has to give birth. How does a woman give birth? Silently. Oh my God. I mean, I kind of gave you a spoiler, but the whole scene, you're like, oh my God. And then you have a baby. How do you keep a baby quiet? I mean, you have to see it.
The whole premise is
of
her being in that bathtub, trying to give birth, and being quiet while the aliens are in the house.
Oh my God, they're walking around and they're making their little alien
clicking noises, and she's
biting down on her towel,
and you're just like, oh my God, it's gonna come out, and the baby scream right off the bat, and you're like, as a woman how hard that's got to be just to keep it down, and then the baby is just it was a hard scene to watch.
It was.
I was like, oh my gosh,
it was a nail biter.
She's gonna die. When she stepped on the nail, that's me. You hurt yourself. The first thing, fuck! Oh, God damn it! And then, you can't do that. You can't do that at all. But that's the first thing you want to do. So she's holding. She's taking her foot off the nail, and she's like, oh, you just can feel it.
It gives me chills.
Yeah, you can feel it, and you're just like, oh God. To be quiet, but I'm with you. I thought it was a fantastic concept of not talking,
of like having to really like truly be quiet.
Yeah, I mean and that's because it's not our nature.
And it doesn't. I mean, not every character that you want to survive.
Yeah.
So it has some semi-reality to it. Like that could happen. Like so, I thought it was a great ride.
Yeah, the family dynamic of it was fantastic, and the two main characters are actually husband and wife, and I didn't know that.
Oh, in real life?
Yeah, in real life.
Oh, no wonder there's like some good chemistry.
It's Emily
there.
Blunt and John Krasinski, or something. I think is how you say it. He actually wrote it.
Oh,
he wrote and directed
good on
the
you,
movie.
dude.
Yeah.
I mean, what a cool story.
Because I watched one of their interviews, after the fact, of course, because I didn't. But one of the interviews, because they were asking, somebody asked him how was it like directing and working with your wife, and he's like, it's terrifying. I was terrified, because
oh my
she
God,
did it wrong at work.
Because she's the actress.
She's more big than he is as an actress and stuff like that. So he was trying to impress her that this, what we could do. Yeah, so it's really cool. And he was telling a story how he came to visit her for Mary Poppins.
Oh.
This is off script because it cracked me up. But he comes over while she's filming Mary Poppins, and they're like, "Who are you?" And I'm here to see my wife.
Right.
And what do you do? Oh, I'm an actor. And what does your wife do? She's an actress. And they kind of looked at him and was like, "Who's your wife?" And he's like, "Oh, Emily Blunt." And he's like,
"Are you
he's
sure?"
Like,
yeah, right. Like every dude wouldn't walk up and say they're married to Emily Blunt to get on set.
He's not, but it's just like when you see the two contrasted
You're
people,
like, right.
he goes, yeah, I really had to convince him that was my wife.
Oh my God, that's sad. Shame on you, Hollywood.
He's like the nerd, she's this gorgeous person and he's the nerd, and then she was saying how when they were there and the kids, because she's actually British, and so she was like, they're like, well, how are your kids? She's like, they're half British and half American. She's like, well, when we filmed Mary Poppins, they were British because she was like, my daughter wanted some water, like they say in British, and then she's got American. She's like, I have some water. She's now they're American again. They're a cute couple. I really like them.
Excuse me, may I have some water?
Water. Yeah, it was a good. I just watched the first one of Quiet Ones where it was like the beginning of it, and the whole thing wrapped around this cat, and I was rooting for the cat. And I was like,
yeah.
don't kill the cat.
Yeah. Don't even tell me. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
No,
Don't
the
tell
cat
us.
survived. Nope.
Okay.
I'm gonna blow it. The cat
Okay.
survived because that
Okay.
was the highlight of my thing. Was
Okay.
that she did everything for this cat.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my god.
I don't
It
remember
wasn't
that.
a dog. It's always
I
a
don't
damn
remember
dog. I
that,
love
yeah.
dogs, but it's always a dog.
Yeah.
Well, cats are. I
So
bet
it's
they're
nice
hard
that
to
this
film.
cat, it was
Harder
like-
to film than dogs.
This cat, I'm
Wow.
like, I want the
Maybe.
cat. It was a smart cat.
And can
I
you
wonder-
imagine trying to keep a cat quiet? I mean,
I
seriously.
know.
Right.
I know.
And it did. I mean, it was a
Wow.
fantastic
It
cat.
probably sensed danger. I mean, animals
could,
sense
yeah.
danger.
A couple times it ran away and you're like, fuck, the cat's gone. And then it would come back and you're like, yay, the cat. I was rooting for the cat.
Oh my god! It probably sat in a tree like
Yeah,
like watching the
that's
aliens
not a bird.
walk by. Oh my god. Okay, so moving on to topic number 4, my favorite, serial killer. I've read a lot of true crime books about serial killers. I listen to podcasts. My husband thinks there's something really wrong with me. But my mom also really likes this kind of thing.
It's genetic.
So her and I can watch movies and read books and talk about stuff. We both love the Alfred Hitchcock movie Psycho, the original with Anthony Hopkins. It is phenomenal. And I don't know, several years ago I learned that I had missed the opportunity in Seattle to go to the Seattle Symphony because they were screening Psycho, but the symphony was playing the soundtrack as the
that would've
movie
been cool.
was playing. So you got the live
Yeah.
music going on while the movie was playing, and that whole shower scene where it's like, like imagine you're in like concert
Oh.
sound. I mean, I just like, oh, if only I would have known, I would have
Oh,
done
yeah, that would have been awesome.
So I need to keep trying to find those kinds of opportunities. I'm not quite sure how to do it, but I mean, I know I can go online and whatever, but I got to figure out like
Yeah.
who's going to announce that? Is it
Yes.
Seattle Symphony? Is it like,
Right.
Is it one of the film groups?
yeah,
Is it
because
even like
if
the
that
art museum?
opportunity
Yeah.
came up, even
Yeah.
any movie with that, I think would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's
It
cool. Yeah.
Fantastic!
Fantastic.
What did we learn about the word fantastic, Tamara?
When you go to finishing school, you learn not to say bullshit, but
Bullshit.
fantastic.
Fantastic.
Pinky's out. Fantastic.
Fantastic.
So, if you don't know the movie Psycho, which
You should.
I don't know, maybe you don't, it's a 1960s Alfred Hitchcock story. The description is a secretary on the run for embezzlement takes refuge at a secluded California motel owned by a repressed man and his overbearing mother. The most famous scene is where she starts out taking a peaceful shower, and to wash off all her stress, we see an anonymous figure approach from behind the blurry murk of the shower curtain. It rips the curtain off its holders and proceeds to stab the main character to death as Bernard Herrmann's screaming violin composition called Murder amplifies the terror. So the thing is, you don't actually see the gore of the woman being stabbed. What you see is like blood running down the shower wall after that
The innocent
occurs.
shower.
So it like Hitchcock, all Hitchcock. He's messing with your mind. It's more psychological thriller. It's not gory.
He's letting
Right.
you go there instead of
Yeah.
you going there.
Yeah.
But the character Bates, what's his name? Norman Bates, who runs the hotel. I mean, there's a twist in there about him and his mother and how obsessed he is, and that he just looks like this nerdy, innocent guy who's
you
just
would never
who's a
suspected him.
serial killer.
Who's struggling to pick out the right card for Mother's Day?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
much. Which severed head would you like on this
Yeah.
one? I don't know.
Yeah.
But so what I know is true about this movie and that scene in particular was, and it's Janet Leigh, by the way, is the actress. Hitchcock
Who's
was
phenomenal.
who
Yeah.
was really frustrated because he was trying to get a specific reaction from her, and it wasn't coming for him from what she was performing with Anthony Hopkins and the knife, and so he grabbed the knife. He like had the continue filming, he grabbed the knife and he started going at it. So you could just see the arm, and he was getting closer and closer to her, and she was just completely terrified. She's like, what is this maniac gonna do? That's the reaction they have in the movie, because he scared the holy crap out of her. Because he was looking for that kind of reaction.
Which is why it looks authentic.
Oh my God. I'm like, I don't think I would want to be in Hitchcock movies if he's that crazy. But that movie put him on the map. I mean, after that,
and if you
there's
haven't
some
seen
amazing
Hitchcock movies, you should.
Oh, they are.
They're
The
all
Birds
good.
is my favorite.
Okay, so I had a really fun experience with The Birds. My friend Yvonne, who was working at Point Reyes National Seashore years ago, I went to visit her. We did the whole seashore thing, but then she had mentioned Bodega Bay not being very far, and I'm like, we have to go there. Like, Hitchcock filmed The Birds there. Like, I need to see Bodega Bay, like, right now. so we got in her boyfriend's truck with her boyfriend and me, and we all went to Bodega Day, had a great lunch and experience. But I was like, yay! And I was looking around, and the birds were fine. There was no they were not attacking.
They weren't attacking.
But yes, the birds are good. But my favorite, because I just love Grace Kelly and I love Jimmy Stewart, is the two of them in Rear Window.
In Rear Window.
Hands down, one of my favorite thriller movies.
Too,
yeah.
because I like Cary Grant.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, see there, we took a side trip.
We did. So, I mean,
awesome.
really, if you want good psychological thrillers,
Hitchcock
is your man.
Yeah.
Now, he does have a funny one that, like, made me laugh so hard a couple of different times, called What's the Matter with Harry? Totally awesome, hilarious, like spin on. It's like a spin on horror, but it's spoofy and it's really well done and it's so funny.
I'll have to look for that.
Yes,
Yeah, I haven't
so
seen that. I
funny.
haven't heard of that one.
So another movie that we intended to see before this trip, but I just couldn't make it work, is called Peeping Tom. And I hadn't heard of it, and I came across it researching this topic. And it's a young man murders women using a movie camera to film their dying expressions of terror. And it's touted to be like a modern version of a Hitchcock-esque kind of thrill ride. So and it was filmed, I think, in the 80s, 70s or 80s. Like, it's an older movie, but I want to see it. I haven't seen it, and
I've never even heard of it.
I didn't either, yeah.
I read more than one review where the reviewers are like, this is like Hitchcock, like, you have to see this movie. I mean, it just sounds completely demented. So we have not seen it yet, but we will. Definitely check it out. So, and I mean, of course, I'm talking about two movies under a category of serial killer that like encompasses a multitude of movies, but this is, we're probably going to be over an hour at this, like, I don't even know. We're almost like at an hour at this point. So
we're having too much fun with this too.
So if I tried to cover all my favorite serial killer movies, we'd be here until like next
We would have just done serial killers.
We went for an iced coffee at Dunkin'. We were there for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
So,
it revved me up, that iced coffee. I'm talking a lot. But okay, so let's take a moment and be quiet and let's see if you guys can hear. Can you hear the background chirping and like night noise? I love night noises in the tropics. It's really cool.
The bullfrogs will get going. And you can actually hear it in the house, like with the windows closed, because they're really on the hunt for happiness.
They need some honeys.
They need some loofahs.
Are they horny toads?
They are.
Do you have the cicadas?
Yes,
they're called
yes,
down
but
here?
not like they do in the Midwest.
Okay,
But we
because
did
so
have- we
that
do
little
have some.
noise that we're hearing is grasshoppers, right?
Crickets.
Or crickets, I mean.
Crickets.
Okay.
Usually they're like crickets.
Yeah, I don't want to see them.
Okay.
Yeah, they're crickets.
Okay.
And they get big like that. Those are the weird ones. Grasshoppers and crickets are supposed to be like,
It's Florida. We have a year-round growing season,
I had a cricket experience. I never want to be near a cricket again. So I worked as a gift store clerk my first summer in college at Crater Lake National Park. So we stayed in a dormitory, and it was concession employees. So I wasn't park service employee. I was a concession employee in the national park. That's the summer I actually met Dave. But so the sleeping in the dorm was you had your little dorm room for your storage and your personal items kind of in locker style with like areas to change and whatnot, but you didn't sleep in your room. There was a sleeping porch for the women and a sleeping porch for the men. And so I was in my little bed one night, and I kept hearing this noise, and I thought it was part of my dream or sleep. And I woke up and realized there was a cricket right next to my head, rubbing its little wing, making the cricket. I freaked out. I think I flung that thing like all the way across the room to like, and I
It was just a boy cricket going, "You're beautiful."
I got in
girl
trouble.
cricket.
I got in trouble because there was an older lady next to me. She's like, "What is the matter? Be quiet." Shh.
You're like, "This is a fucking bug in my ear."
I'm like, I was attacked by a cricket.
I freaked out too.
I swear to God, I flung that cricket so far across the room, and then I was afraid it was going to come back and stalk me. I'm like, I'm done.
It's
I
because you
can't
watch
sleep.
these things.
That's true.
Well, I think all of us have that fear. I used to have the fear when you put the spider down the drain that it would actually come back.
Yes.
So I always
For
like
revenge.
it would. It was
Yes.
gonna get me. So I used to have to put the plug in it or plug it up, so it couldn't come back up the drain.
Yes, and I mean, you'd squish a spider in a tissue or whatever, and you'd flush it down the toilet, and you just knew like it's clinging somewhere to something. It's
Sometimes
not really
you
all the way
squish it
gone.
in the napkin and the fucker comes out,
Yes.
and you didn't actually squish it,
Oh.
and you're like, "Oh my, what the hell?" And then it flings. You fling it, and you're like, "Oh no, now it's loose again."
Like Tamara will save spiders. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, they die.
cross the threshold of my house. They are
I
dead.
used to when I lived in Washington. Now in Florida, we have like black widows. We haven't seen any like big black widows. We've just seen the juveniles, and they dart so fast.
Okay, and we
So you
Oh,
know
God.
what
we
they are,
have been
and you kill
lucky
them.
that we haven't seen one. I
No.
haven't seen a spider.
I
It's been
haven't
very
either.
nice.
It's been weird. I saw
It's been
spider
very-
webs today, but I didn't see any
Yeah,
spiders.
It's been very nice not to see the
Yes.
spiders.
We scheduled it for you.
Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate that. I really
Yeah.
do.
It's not Black Widow season. Is
No,
there a season?
it's not. But we also learned there's a thing that you can spray like at the thresholds,
Oh,
and they'll
Does it
die.
actually work though?
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Because you know people say that all the time. Oh, I put this cayenne pepper, cinnamon shit.
And because
well,
It's supposed to keep
it's
the
probably
bug
a
out.
legit
it's
like
a legit
spray.
It kills them. Yes.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want to take the risk because we've got a cat.
Cat.
Yeah,
Like
you
in
don't want
Washington
the
who
cat
thinks,
dying.
"Ooh, spider, play
Yeah.
toy." He doesn't know. Ooh, spider, bite, die, go to the vet, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So that actually brings us to our last category called revenge.
Revenge.
The revenge cricket, the revenge spider, the revenge person.
Yo.
So there's a couple movies in this category that came to mind. One was The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, which was, I think, Tamara, that was
Yeah,
your
that
suggestion.
was my
I've never
suggestion.
seen it.
Oh my God, we should watch it
We
tonight.
should watch it.
It's
I've
so
never
good.
seen it.
It's so good. So
We'll
it's
watch it tomorrow night. We don't have to get up early
that's
on
right.
Monday.
That's
Yeah.
right. We'll get up. We'll do it
Yeah,
tomorrow
we
night.
have early tomorrow.
It's a very
Just have
young,
to take a shower.
a very young Rebecca De Mornay, kind of in the height, her. Well, I don't want to say peak. I don't mean to demean that, but when she was really famous in that Tom Cruise movie.
Yes.
Where he slides across,
Slides
the,
across the
floor.
floor. Risky
Risky
business.
Risky business. So she was in that movie with him, and there's like a really hot sex scene on a train and whatnot.
Yep.
So
elevated
it's in
L-train.
that kind of that age
That,
where
yeah,
she
it's
was.
just a couple of years.
And-
Well, maybe it's more than that. 'cause
It
it's
might
like
be
early
a couple
90s.
years
It's
older,
like early 90s.
but she's still
Yeah, I was in college.
pretty young. But
Yeah.
so she plays a nanny character, and for a family, and you think that it's going to be awesome, and then
Because
there's
she's so dedicated.
a big
she's
twist.
so dedicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big twist. So the description is after her sex offender husband gets caught in the act and kills himself, an embittered pregnant widow loses her child, embarks on a mission of vengeance against one of her husband's victims and the woman's family. So she tracks down unfortunately, and I hope that this changes in the news, but I don't know if it does. The stupid media shows the victim's face and says her name and the city where she lives in this news story. And so Rebecca De Mornay's character knows okay, this was the first person that came forward against my husband, and because of all that stress I lost my child, so why does this woman get to live her life and have this new baby? And so she learns about her that she's just had a new baby, she has a young daughter, they're trying to live their life, but she needs help, and so she actually applies to be the nanny and comes across as this dedicated, innocent caregiver. and
At
just
first,
she's,
spectacular.
oh my gosh, she is a sick puppy.
Yes.
It's a thrill ride. It's really good. I mean, some of the best scenes are just, I mean, they're terrible scenes, but they're the thrill scenes that like make your heart pound. I'm like, oh my god.
Hugely.
So I don't want to give too much away because Mary hasn't seen it, but so don't read that part right there.
And don't listen to it.
But it's I mean that definitely that's in the category of revenge because she honestly like goes for it.
Yes. Hugely.
Another movie that's you guys will think is way cheesy, and it's okay because it is. It's called The Fog, and it was in the 80s. But the reason I love it so much, it was John Carpenter and Deborah Hill who did Halloween. So in 1978 they did Halloween, and then in 1980 they did The Fog. And it's that same, like, you don't need a ton of money to make a movie sort of mindset, but to tell a good story. And I thought it was really well done. Of course, there's some cheesy aspects, but there's cheesy aspects to Halloween.
Yeah.
So, but
Right.
you just sort of buy into it because of the setting of the movie. So the setting of the movie takes place within the very small town of Point Reyes Station, which is at Point Reyes National Seashore. So these are areas I've been because I traveled there for work to take classes at Point Reyes for my acquisition warrant. But also Yvonne was working there at the time, so I'd go visit her from time to time. So I've stayed in Point Reyes Station. I've stayed at the farmhouse restaurant. I ate at the farmhouse restaurant with her. We went to the National Seashore. We went to Drake's Beach and Bodega Bay. We went, to like the areas that, well, we said Bodega Bay is where Hitchcock filmed The Birds, and we went to the famous lighthouse in the movie that the woman goes to like, that's where the radio station is located, that she's the radio broadcaster for, the main character. And so it's just a really fun movie for me to be like, oh my god, I know where they're at, I recognize that, I've been there, blah blah blah. So it's just one of those fun movies.
Yeah.
But I thought the story was really good, and I learned that Jamie Lee Curtis, Jamie's mom, Janet Leigh, is in this movie, but much older than she was when she did Psycho.
Oh.
So it was like, it had all these cool, like, little connections of, like, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, and then Jamie Lee Curtis, who was in Halloween, and then her mom's in this movie, and so it made it kind of fun. Yeah. So the story is that ghosts from shipwrecked sailors return to their seaside village on the 100th anniversary of their deaths. So there's the lighthouse. So these sailors were on a boat. It was foggy. They couldn't see where the shore was exactly. They crash. They die. And,
Probably the reason they built the lighthouse.
Right. So local legend tells
Right.
that the ship lured onto the rocks of the fake Antonio Bay, being enveloped by a supernatural cloud as it sank. The myth says that when this mysterious fog returns, the victims will rise from the depths seeking vengeance. And so the opening scene
Sounds like a happy show.
Yeah, the opening scene cracked me up so hard because it's like this old salty sailor man and he's telling the story and he's at this campfire, but it's like a bunch of little kids sitting around the campfire, and I'm like, would you ever be able to sleep again if you were that child? You're like, he's telling this like horror story to these kids. I'm like, you think he's just like telling like adults, like kind of narrating to the audience in the movie, and then they pan out and it's all these kids like scared shitless around this campfire.
Like, who let Grandpa out?
Exactly. Oh my god. And then later we see the fog roll in, and then we see the main character's name is Adrian, which my mom's name is Adrian, so I thought that was kind of fun. And she descends down the steps to the Point Reyes lighthouse, and this lighthouse is gorgeous, you guys. It is like on the edge of the continent in the Pacific Ocean, Point Reyes National Seashore. There's 313 steps down to the lighthouse, which sounds like a lot. It sounds like you wouldn't be able to do it. Like, I was a little worried when Yvonne and I were, I'm like, am I going to be able to go up and down? But I did, because the grade is less than you think, even though it's like steps down. It's really approachable. And the National Park Service, I believe, did some major restoration work to the lighthouse, and so it's even better shape than it was for this movie and when I was there. So I would love to go back actually and see the improvement. I just haven't had a reason to really go back to Point Reyes, but it's in the Bay Area, and I do love the Bay Area, so maybe at some point. But so that was a movie that I thought was really cool because of all those little connections, you know?
That's cool.
And it was a mysterious. I put it in the category of revenge because it's the
ghost
sailors
wrecks.
and the ghosts
Getting
that
their
come
revenge.
back and they
Yeah.
have
But
revenge.
the fog can be creepy.
They
though.
have
Sometimes
revenge. I know the way they show the
Yeah.
fog rolling into town. You're like, how many fog machines? Do you have?
Well, if they filmed it there, though, probably all they
It
had
could
to do
be
was wait
actual
for
fog.
Yes,
Yeah,
it might
yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
fog's
I hate it when
really
fog
cool.
gets thick. It's creepy when you're like,
Yeah.
wait, what? You can't see like this close in
Yes.
front of you. You
Yes.
don't know what. You really
Right.
don't know what's out there.
Believe
Yeah.
it or not, we'll get fog really bad here. and
Oh,
we won't be able to
interesting.
see the trees.
I guess so because
Wow.
of that dew point and
Yep,
the humidity.
and because we've got all the retention ponds,
Yeah.
and then that's a huge preserve. And,
Yeah.
And then
Oh.
there's a lake just beyond, and
You're like it's a wall.
yep,
Wall of fog.
yep.
Don't go out.
So the last movie in the revenge category is called What Lies Beneath, and it stars Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer. Do you guys know this movie?
I love this movie.
I think I've seen it.
It's
But I'm not
it's like I think
100%
it was
sure.
in the 2000s. I don't exactly remember, but this
I felt like it was not a young Michelle Pfeiffer, but not a
right,
really old
like
Michelle
kind of
Pfeiffer.
like she plays a character of a mom who just sent a daughter off to college. So what is that like? What are you usually like in your late
30s?
mid to
Oh,
late
it's
40s?
2000.
You're probably in your mid to late 40s by the time your kid's off to college.
Depends on
right?
when you have your kids.
That's true. So she sends her kid off to college. She is having a little bit of empty nester mom stress,
Right.
and her husband thinks that she's
a
going a little
doctor.
nutty.
Isn't he a doctor?
Yeah,
He's
he's like a
doctor.
researcher at a,
Yeah.
at a university. So the wife of a university research scientist believes that her lakeside Vermont home is haunted by a ghost, or that she is losing her mind. And there's a scene where she and her best friend are in their bathroom playing with the Ouija board. And so that kind of, and they're doing a seance to see if they can bring the spirit that she thinks that she keeps
Is there?
seeing
Yeah.
there. And she does learn who this spirit
Yeah.
is, that's a real person, and there's a connection to her husband. And I won't give it away, but it's got it's amazing.
It
But-
is. It's a really good.
and the
one.
revenge twist is a twist, so I don't want to give that away. But it's What Lies Beneath, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Harrison Ford. So right off the bat, you've got two actors that are like pretty high up
what's
there.
That, what was that movie where the guy thought he saw the murder, but it wasn't a murder? But then I can't think of what it's called. It's like the Rear Window one where I think that's what it's
Like they're kind of looking across.
like in the movie, she thinks she sees this murder, and then it drives her
Yes,
crazy, and so she's
yes.
trying to find out where the wife
Yes.
was murdered, and so then she acts like this crazy person, and that's part of the psychological thing too. It's like, oh my God, did she really watch this? And everything's turning out to where she's correct, and then it's like she's not,
Right.
and you're like, what the hell?
And then there's a twist,
It's
yeah.
a huge twist. So, but she was convinced. Like she went on, like I'm gonna be a detective here. And I'm
Right.
gonna look at this stuff, and then it was all wrong. But the way that the movie made it is like you really thought that was the whole point of the movie,
Right.
Was that this woman that she was
Saw.
supposedly killed was
Her neighbor.
haunting
So
her.
it was a dark and stormy night. She saw her neighbor through like lightning strike brightness. She thought she saw him carry what looked like a dead body wrapped in a rug, put into the trunk of his car, and then he drove away.
Yeah.
And when she went on the premise of welcoming the neighbor and bringing a basket of homemade goodies, she was knocking on the front porch, and she saw to her left a woman's shoe with like a
Blood on
dark
it.
spot on
Yeah.
it that she assumed was blood. So she thought the wife was murdered and he got rid of the body.
Yeah.
And so the whole time she's thinking, okay, my neighbor is a psychotic killer,
Right.
and I'm gonna,
That's a
try to
good
figure this
thriller.
out.
That's what she.
And the
thinks.
whole
Yeah.
and she's trying to tell Harrison Ford, her husband, what's going on. He thinks she's nuts.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's psychologically messing with her about something that she's also trying to figure out about the spirit that she keeps seeing.
Right.
So it's got a really good twist and turn
yeah.
you don't quite
It's
It's a
expect.
good movie.
And there is the revenge element in there. So that's all I'm going to say about that
Yeah.
one. So that covers what our theme is. That
I
and-
thought of one after you did this.
okay, what?
Double Jeopardy.
Oh yes,
and
And
that
that's even
is.
filmed
Yes.
in Washington
Washington,
State.
yeah.
And New Orleans, right?
Yes,
And
and
part
New
of it
Orleans,
is
yes.
New Orleans, yeah. So,
That's
yeah,
what
you're
we're
right
gonna check
because
out.
they're on the Washington Ferry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with
That's
Tommy Lee Jones and
Ashley Judd.
Ashley
yes, oh my
Judd.
God, I love
Yes.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good
She
psychological
was so good.
It
one.
is.
She was also
It
really
is.
good in Jane Patterson Kiss the Girls, the adaptation of that
Oh,
book.
yeah.
Oh my God! So
she's
and that was a
actually-
serial killer movie.
She's actually a
But,
really
yeah.
good actress.
She
And
is.
I didn't know for the longest time that she was.
That was
Winona
the family
Judd
of
is
yeah,
her sister.
because
Yeah.
they're so opposite.
Yeah.
They're just half sisters.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, see, I didn't even know that.
same mama, different dads.
Different dad, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well that makes
Yep.
sense. So I'm like the extreme looks. I'm like,
Yes.
because she looks, she doesn't look anything like her
No.
sister or
Yeah.
her mom.
No.
So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, well,
Yep.
And her husband does her wrong and takes away her son. So she figures out a way to get out of jail and deal with him in a way that she can't be retried for the same crime
It's double
twice
jeopardy.
of double jeopardy.
Comes
So
up double
it
Yeah.
kind of explains that concept. And Tommy Lee Jones is the
Parole
parole
officer.
officer, and she escapes, and it's this chase.
It's a
and,
good twist.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's so good. And they
It's
go from
spectacular.
Washington to
New Orleans.
Louisiana, and you're like, oh my God. So yeah, we us locals love watching that
Yeah.
movie because
Yes.
of the ferry scene and
Yeah.
seeing the scenery, and we're
Yes.
like, we know
Whidbey
that.
Island, isn't it,
Yeah,
where she goes
yes,
to?
yeah,
Yeah.
Whidbey Island and the Washington State ferries. If you haven't been to Washington and ridden the ferries, you're missing out because
Yeah.
it's a really fun
Yeah.
experience, and there's some
Gorgeous scenery.
gorgeous scenery, and the
Sometimes
San
you
Juan
see
Island
whales.
chain is
Yep.
there, and
Yeah.
the orcas are around that area,
Yeah.
and we have the Tulip Festival each spring, and Skagit Valley, and the Eagles in fall. I mean, there's a lot to see in Washington, and,
Right.
not far from where we live in Port Angeles, which is where Tamara lived, and then she moved here in Florida.
She moved
So we had
It's
to
a great place to be
We had
retired.
to get
though.
all the way freaking here just to see her. So
Yeah. It's a long ways.
we went from I think like 58 degrees and rainy to 90 degrees and
Yeah.
Yeah.
perfectly
Yeah.
sunny.
It
So
has- yeah, it's been nice.
It has.
so yeah, it's,
Not
it's been
overwhelmingly
awesome.
hot, but it's been nice.
Well,
Nice.
we've sort of we haven't like just like sat out in the sun and baked like toasted cheeses.
Yeah.
Like we've been
Yeah.
on the go and doing things and being in and out of places with air conditioning, so we're not like completely just
Especially in the
sweltering.
afternoon.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not in the
Evenings are perfect.
in the heat of the day. We're not out like just sitting in the sun.
No, we're doing
somewhere.
stuff in the morning
Yeah.
and in the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
and
just
we
not
are crafters, and I am so behind on making the art pieces that go along with these episodes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I haven't even finished the one for Friday or the one for Halloween.
Yeah.
Like I'm that far behind.
I think
so
the
I will
last-
catch it up
I
and I
think
will
the-
feature those, but
I think the last one you
Um,
gave me was
Friday the 13th.
no, I don't
right?
have no, I don't have that one.
No,
that was,
yeah,
that was
because-
the first one.
Right, I gave you that.
Yeah, I've with the last one I have, I think is
Oh, it was
I got
Paranormal
Copycat.
Activity.
I got Copycat, and then the one after Copycat.
Paranormal Activity.
No, that
we
was
did.
before.
Oh,
That's before.
what was Oh, was it Spy? No. we
I
did-
have
have to go to your
I have
house.
a
oh,
child
yeah, I haven't done Arachnophobia.
Oh, it was The
Friday
Shining.
the 13th, The Shining.
Yeah,
I did The Shining.
I know, but
yeah,
that's the
okay.
last one I have
Yeah.
from you.
So I'm behind. I got to do Arachnophobia.
But you made a Arachno one.
I made one for me,
Me, but not
I
me.
didn't
Yeah.
make Mary a sign. She wants a sign each time so she can put them on her wall.
Yeah, I got a creepy
In her
wall in my
bedroom.
bedroom.
Poor bitches. And the
How
funny thing
restful.
is, they ended up in my bedroom too because I didn't have anywhere else to feature them. So I'm actually gonna hang them in there above my dresser and be like, oh well.
They're on my side of the bed.
I thought about
You know?
taking them in my office to work, and I thought people might take this
This the
wrong.
wrong
Yeah.
You're such a calm
Murder movies.
Don't piss off this contracting officer.
Yeah.
She might kill you.
We like the murder movies.
Oh my gosh. So, it's been a really great week and
It's
experience.
been great to have them here.
I mean, living here, I can't believe the amount of recreation. There's tennis, there's golf, there's biking, there's
Pickleball.
pickleball,
Don't forget
there's
pickleball.
Yeah.
there's archery, There's
Near a dog
Dark.
park.
Dog parks. There's biking path, walking path, golf cart path. There's
Town
disc
squares.
golf, town square, shopping, eating.
Live music every night.
And there's everything within like golf cart driving distance
Yeah.
or bicycle distance. There's
love the golf
swimming
carts.
pools and workout gyms and like on and on and on. The recreation is insane.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I lived here, I would probably get into pretty good shape because I do like to get out and move and do
yeah.
things. And with this weather, I'd always feel like I needed
Yep.
to be
get
out
out, do
and do
stuff,
things.
yeah.
It would be really hard to telework or actually go to an office every day. So I could see why retirees really like it here
Yeah.
because of the community atmosphere and
I just
Yeah.
put a
being
golf cart.
social and the live music everywhere. I mean, just in us walking around a couple different squares, hearing the bands that have been playing,
it's
even
been
though they're cover bands,
fantastic.
they're great.
We listened to
So-
one today. What was the one today? We were all of a sudden we were listening
Brian
to
Adams.
Oh,
Brian
so
Adams.
it was a Brian Adams song, but it was sung by a woman,
This is
but the woman sounded like Stevie
Stevie
Nicks.
Nicks.
So it was so weird. I'm like,
And
this
then
is-
it was Poison.
And then it was
Yeah.
Poison.
which
Yeah.
was kind of playing on the street though.
Yeah,
Wasn't
oh, that-
really-
you're right. That
yeah,
was on
that
the
was on
radio
the, on the
station.
radio
Oh, it was?
station.
I thought it was
no.
her.
No, that was just street. that was
we're
like radio
confused.
station.
Don't mind us.
Because then
It's a
all of a
barbecue
sudden, and
coma.
then all of a sudden, she was singing a Pink song, and you're like,
That's
wow,
what it was.
that
Yeah.
is a,
Pink.
that
That's
is a
what it
huge
was.
So she
genre
went
jump.
from Brian Adams to Pink, but her version, I mean, it was so weird. It was like
It was
Stevie
weird.
Nicks'
Yeah.
voice singing Brian Adams'
Yeah.
Summer of '69.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so much fun to be had here. Like, I can't wait to come back and keep experiencing. I mean, we did the airboat tour. Tomorrow we're doing a flat bottom boat tour,
Yeah.
so we're going to be able to see
Yeah,
some
it
other
has
kind of
glass in the
wildlife.
middle.
Yes,
Yeah.
explain
Yeah.
what we're doing tomorrow.
So we're going to a spring, gorgeous like turquoise water, crystal clear, always 72 degrees, so it's a great place to go on a hot day. And the bottom of the boat is glass. They've been running the glass bottom boat since like 1800 and something.
Oh, wow.
It was actually started by a couple of teenage boys who wanted extra money.
Oh, smart.
And it wasn't very big at first because it was just like
Wow.
a piece of glass that they had like,
Right.
from a house or something like that. But it's developed over the years.
Wow.
And, yeah, so it's pretty cool.
So they
Oh.
came up with the idea and then boom.
Yeah, and the place where it's done is Creature from the Black Lagoon. Back in the day, it was filmed there. There's a James Bond movie that was filmed there. There's actually some
Wow.
statues still in the
Oh,
water.
this
from
is
the
so
James
exciting
Bond
to know. I love the
movie.
movie
so
connection.
it's really cool.
And what's it called?
Silver Springs.
Okay.
And it's a TV show. I'm trying to remember now what it was called, but it was like Sea Base something Sea Wolf from like the 80s.
Oh.
Was also filmed there.
Wow, that's got quite
Wow.
the. I love going to
Yes.
places with
Yay.
movie history. I'm excited. I mean, not that I wasn't excited before.
Yeah.
But
It
it's
makes
now
it
it's
better,
not
yeah.
even just pretty
Right
water.
now, it's like I get to
You gotta look
experience
for
And
stuff.
we're
some movie
hoping,
stuff.
because this is like a sudden, unexpected heat wave, that we'll get to see manatee.
Okay.
We don't know
Yeah.
if they'll still be in the spring or
Yeah.
not, but fingers crossed.
Yeah, that'd be
Fingers
cool.
crossed. Or
Sea
tur-
cows.
Like Mary
I need
wants
sea
sea turtles.
My daughter loves sea turtles, so I
Yeah.
gotta try to get a sea turtle.
I don't
Yeah.
know if the sea turtles are there though.
No,
are
I
they?
think it's
It's a
just
turtle.
river. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
just like the
a,
pond
but you've got
It's a
like all
turtle.
kinds, and sometimes when you see them, I mean, they're
Big.
They're
turtles.
huge.
Yeah,
huge.
they're turtles.
Yeah. I don't
Okay.
want a snapping turtle. I don't want to.
No, no.
I'd like to hold a turtle though.
Ew, you like to hold all the slimy things.
It's
Ah,
not
what's
slimy,
wrong
it's
with
a
you?
turtle.
Ah, it seems
Well,
like it
talk to
would be
Keith.
slimy.
He's had to relocate a
Oh
couple.
God!
Really?
They've like been
No,
headed out, and he's
no.
like, "No, you want to go in the preserve."
No,
Go back to the
no,
preserve."
no.
Just pick it up.
Matter of
Just-
fact, before you guys came, the night before you guys came, we were out in the golf cart. We were headed somewhere, and there was one that was stuck and couldn't get back up the curb.
Oh.
And I was like, "Sweetheart, we need to go back." And so we spun around in the golf cart
Okay,
and
I
came
might,
back around
I
to
might
try
feel
to save
sorry
it.
for it and do that too.
We did, but we were very impressed. There was another couple that had stopped and were rescuing the turtle, and the guy walked it down to the pond.
Aw.
So
yes.
my boss lives in a really hot part of California in the summer, and she said she saw a toad on the sidewalk just struggling because it was so hot, and it was just sort of, and she like scooped it up and like took it home, and now it's her pet toad. I'm like, oh
Yeah, I'm not
my
taking it
God.
home.
Oh
I'm
my
not gonna take it
God.
home,
You
but-
want a lizard? You
Well,
want
that's small.
Because that makes a difference. If it was a small toad, Mary would take it
If
home.
I could find a miniature turtle, the fuck yeah, I'm taking it home. If we can find a turtle like this big, I'm taking it.
I
You
want
can't
a
take
min-
Mary in public anymore.
I want a miniature elephant.
I'm
If
pretty sure
anyone
they're going
can
to make me
invent
sell
that.
the house and move.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it Michelangelo.
Oh my God.
Oh, good grief.
After the
Teenage Mutant
Is that the
Ninja Turtle.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
the
God.
cool one. Michelangelo was the cool one. He ate the pizza.
All right, but we need to say goodbye because we need to go to bed.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta
So-
take a shower.
We'll wave with our loofahs. Thanks for joining us and listening in. We've had fun, and we will. Mary and I will see you on our next episode back in
in
Los
Washington.
Angeles.
Having
But Tamara
fun.
will be here.
Yeah.
I do owe. I want to give all the in-person guests of our show a real Screams and Beans mug.
I can't wait to have
So
one.
I am going to have some
That'd
more
be
made,
fun.
and I will mail and give those out to our
Or you can give it to me when
guests.
I'm there in September.
Yes, I will do that. So thank you all for hanging in. Thanks for being a fan, watching. Hope
Bye.
you enjoy.